Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. Think about the last choice you made. Maybe it was what to have for breakfast or clicking on this podcast. Do you feel like you were in complete control of that decision? We like to think of ourselves as the captains of our own ships, rationally steering through life. But what if I told you that much of the time, our choices are guided by invisible architects, subtle and often irrational, mental forces that shape our actions without us even noticing? This is the world of behavioral economics, a field that has completely changed how we understand human decision-making. Today, we're going to explore these invisible architects. We'll uncover how they influence our very sense of control or agency, and why they compel us to help others, even when it costs us. We'll look at the hidden mental shortcuts that make us who we are, and how we can use this knowledge to build a more cooperative world. For decades, traditional economics was built on a very neat idea, the rational economic man, or Homo economicus. This was a theoretical person who was a master of logic, always acting in their own self-interest, with the ability to make perfect decisions based on complete information. The problem is, this person doesn't exist. Pioneers like Nobel laureates Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky showed that real human thinking is filled with systematic errors, which they called cognitive biases. Their work created the field of behavioral economics, which mixes psychology and economics to give us a much more realistic picture of human behavior. It doesn't throw out traditional economics, but it adds a crucial layer. Kahneman popularized the idea that our brain has a dual-process system. System 1 thinking is fast, automatic, intuitive, and emotional. It's your gut reaction, your snap judgment. System 2 thinking is slow, deliberate, and logical. It's what you use to solve a tough math problem. We spend most of our lives using System 1, which relies on mental shortcuts, or heuristics, to get by. These shortcuts are usually effective, but they can also lead to predictable patterns of irrationality. To understand how this all works, we need to grasp a few key concepts. First is bounded rationality, an idea from Nobel laureate Herbert Simon. It states that our ability to be rational is limited by the information we have, our brain's own limitations, and the time we have to decide. We don't look for the absolute perfect, optimal solution. Instead, we're satisficers. We look for a solution that is just good enough. Then there are the cognitive biases themselves. There are hundreds, but let's look at a few crucial ones. Confirmation bias is our tendency to look for and favor information that confirms what we already believe. The availability heuristic is when we overestimate the importance of information that is easily recalled, often because it's recent or emotional, like fearing a shark attack after watching Jaws. Anchoring bias is our tendency to rely too heavily on the first piece of information we get. If the first car you see is priced at $50,000, a $30,000 car suddenly seems like a great deal, even if it's overpriced. Loss aversion is the principle that the pain of losing something is psychologically about twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining the same thing. We'd rather not lose $5 than find $5. And the framing effect shows that we can draw different conclusions from the same information depending on how it's presented. A yogurt labeled 90% fat-free sounds much healthier than one labeled contains 10% fat, even though they are identical. These biases are exploited, sometimes for good, through something called nudge theory. A nudge is a subtle change to the environment that influences our choices without forbidding any options. Think of it as a gentle push. Placing healthy food at eye level in a cafeteria is a nudge. The way choices are presented is called choice architecture. The number of options, their order, and especially the default option. All of these elements can profoundly influence our decisions. So how does this all connect to our sense of being in control, our sense of agency? Agency is your capacity to act independently and make your own free choices. It's the feeling of being the author of your life. A strong sense of agency is linked to greater well-being and motivation. But behavioral economics shows this feeling is surprisingly malleable. Our cognitive biases can warp our perception of control. The illusion of control is when we overestimate our ability to control random events, like a gambler thinking they have a lucky way to roll the dice. The self-serving bias is our tendency to attribute our successes to our own skill, but blame our failures on bad luck or other people. We ace a test because we're smart. We fail a test because the teacher was unfair. This protects our ego and our sense of agency. Hindsight bias, the "I knew it all along" effect, makes us see past events as more predictable than they were. After a stock market crash, people often create a narrative that makes it seem obvious, overestimating their ability to have predicted it. The design of our choices, the choice architecture, also plays a huge role. Defaults are incredibly powerful. Most people stick with the default option, whether it's for a software installation or a retirement plan. This can be used to nudge people towards good things, like automatically enrolling employees in a savings plan, but it can also diminish our sense of agency. If we're just funneled into a choice, do we really feel like we made one? Then there's choice overload. You might think more choice is always better, but research shows that too many options can lead to decision paralysis and less satisfaction. Standing in a supermarket aisle staring at 50 types of jam can feel overwhelming, reducing your confidence in making a good choice and diminishing your sense of control. Now let's turn to one of the most interesting puzzles. Why do we help others? This is called prosocial behavior, voluntary actions intended to benefit someone else, like donating, sharing, or cooperating. This is a direct challenge to the old model of the purely self-interested Homo economicus. Behavioral economics shows that our motivations are far more complex. It's not just about selfishness versus selflessness. One key motivation is reciprocity. We are wired to return kindness with kindness, and to retaliate against those who harm us. The ultimatum game is a brilliant demonstration of this. In the game, one person is given, say, $100 and must propose a split with a second person. If the second person accepts, they get the money as proposed. If they reject it, nobody gets anything. A purely rational person would accept any offer, even $1, because it's better than nothing. But in reality, people consistently reject offers they see as unfair, like $99 for the proposer and $1 for them. They would rather get nothing than accept an unfair deal. This willingness to punish unfairness, even at a cost to yourself, is a powerful social force. There's also inequity aversion, which is simply a preference for fairness and a dislike of unequal outcomes. We don't just care about what we get, we care about what we get compared to others. And sometimes we're motivated by what's called warm glow giving. This is the positive feeling we get from the act of giving itself, regardless of the impact. The warm glow can be a powerful motivator for charity. The context of a situation is also hugely important. We are highly influenced by social norms. A famous study in hotels found that telling guests, "The majority of guests in this room reuse their towels," was more effective at getting them to do so than a simple environmental plea. We want to do what others are doing. We're also more likely to be generous when we know we're being observed. The desire for a good reputation is a strong driver of cooperation. So we see that our sense of control and our desire to do good are not separate, they're deeply interwoven. A strong sense of agency can be a catalyst for prosocial behavior. When we feel empowered and believe our actions can make a difference, we're more likely to step up and help. But there's a potential dark side. While nudges can be used for good, if people feel they are being manipulated or controlled, it can backfire. This is called motivational crowding out. If we feel nudged into donating to charity, it might diminish the warm glow we get from giving freely. We might even come to rely on the nudges and not develop our own capacity for moral reasoning. The practical applications of this science are all around us. For organ donation, countries that have an opt-out system, where you are presumed to be a donor unless you say otherwise, have dramatically higher donation rates than opt-in countries. That single change in the default option saves thousands of lives. To promote energy conservation, some utility companies send reports showing you how your energy use compares to your neighbors. This social norm nudge leads to significant reductions in energy consumption. To boost charitable giving, making it easy and frictionless, like through automatic payroll deductions, works wonders. And we now know that donation appeals that focus on a single identifiable person are far more effective than big, abstract statistics. We feel more for one named child than for a statistic of 1 million suffering children. So what does the future hold? This is a rapidly evolving field. Neuroeconomics is using brain imaging to see what happens in our brain when we make decisions. Behavioral data science is analyzing huge datasets to find patterns in our choices. There's even the potential for personalized nudges, tailored to your specific cognitive biases. But this power to influence raises huge ethical questions. Should we be nudged? A key principle is transparency. People should know when they are being nudged and have the ability to opt out. And who decides what a better choice is? Is it for our own good or for the benefit of a government or corporation? The journey into behavioral economics shows us we are not the perfectly rational beings we imagined. Our sense of control is a delicate, context-dependent experience, and our capacity for kindness is a beautiful, complex dance of internal motivations and external situations. The invisible architects are always there. The task for all of us is to become more aware of their influence, to question our own snap judgments, and to use this powerful knowledge to design a world that is more agentic, more compassionate, and more cooperative for everyone. Thanks for listening to G Fun Facts Online.